Hello. Hey, y'all. Hope y'all were grooving off of that music as much as I was. How's everybody doing? Woo! You know what's funny is I'm going to tell you guys, I thought today was Friday. But I'm glad it's not Friday because we have one more day until the launch of the Wealthy Youth Society. So come on in. Tell me where you're from. Let's see who's here already. Excellent. So Carlene. Hi, Carlene. Let me see. Melva's in the house. Let's see who else is in here. Roseanne, how you doing? I don't know what you posted, Roseanne, but I didn't see it, so I know you're not angry. It must have been a little emoticon or something. That's funny. Come on in, because we got a lot to talk about. Wow. If you think there's somebody who needs to be having this conversation about wealth with us, I want you to tag your friends, tell them to come on in and hang out with us. Hey, Joyce, South Florida in the house. Everybody's from everywhere. You know what I love? I love that so many of you that attended the master class have just been, hanging right on through with us. And I'm excited about those of you who have also signed up for the Wealthy Youth Society. And so for those of you who are in the Wealthy Youth Society, I'm going to share later on a little bit about what to expect tomorrow. But if you are in the society, I want to make sure that you received your email with instructions, because tomorrow night I am going to be with the Wealthy Youth Society and we will start our first 21-day challenge exercise. Now, it's funny, people, so the whole framework for Wealthy You, just to give you guys a little bit of background. Well, come on in. Let me give everybody just a few minutes to get in before I go into that explanation. But, just to start off, what I do want to say is I have just been having some awesome conversations with my one-on-one coaching clients. And I guess what I'm most proud of, all of you who may be watching this now or may watch this on replay, is just the shift that you have all made. And what I mean by that is I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I was like, oh, yeah, so what's going on? How are you feeling? She said, well, I'm feeling great because, if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I probably would have been saying, throw all my money back into the savings account. But here, I've got my strategy here. Here's the investments that I've picked out, and had her spreadsheet. And she was like, I was just like blown away. I mean, because each time you're taking it to a whole different level. But the most important shift that I see is in mindset, right? Like, I've been getting calls just around, oh, do I need to do the 21-day challenge? And I think I'm beyond that. And what I want to tell every one of you is that the most important aspect of what Wealthy You is about is helping you to make a mindset set shift. And what's interesting, I hear mindset being said a lot more now, but I wrote A Purse of Your Own 10 years ago. And if you look in that book, what you'll see is that the fourth habit is a wealthy mindset. And that's the habit of viewing problems as opportunities. And so as I went on and I started to see some of the work that Carol Dweck was doing around a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, it just really validated the research that I had already done. And so I say all of this to say that we're about to go into. Why did I even decide to do this program for 12 months? It's because it's just like everything in America. We want fast, shake 'em, bake 'em. You know, I had someone tell me, oh, well, you just need to do it for 7 weeks and that's enough. Well, here's what I want to tell you. Some of you are, 30, 40, 50, 60, and up. And so your beliefs are embedded. And so much of the work that we do in Wealthy You is changing that belief system. Because everything we were taught is so counter to what it really means to be successful, financially successful anyway. Because when it comes to mindset, you hear scarcity mindset, abundant mindset. At the end of the day, you just have to believe you can. And so what Wealthy You is about is stretching what you see as a possibility, and helping you to grow. Now, one thing I'm clear on is that doesn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? Like, how many of you were in the master class and listened to Charity talk, right? How many of you, just give me a comment. If you were in the master class and you saw Charity and you heard her conversation, what did you think about Charity's conversation? Good, bad? Charity was the young woman who was a single mom and kind of started out with me as a mentor before I ever even started wealth coaching. And the truth is that to see her growth, that took years, right? And so as I began to think about, wow, all of the women and the women that had the most growth, the truth is it was years. It's not like I'm not saying their coaching program was years. No, typically in private coaching, you have 8 sessions, and then and all with the going, and you're going through the same curriculum that we're going to go through in this 12-month program, which is based on the book A Purse of Your Own. And by the way, if you're just coming in, I'm Deborah Owens, founder and CEO of Wealthy You, and right now I'm just giving a little background on wealth coaching and why I did this 12-month program, right? So, it's like 8 sessions. You're going through the curriculum, and your sessions with me are very strategic, intimate, and it's all about execution. And if you were on the master class, one of the things you heard a lot was, oh, Deb's about results, right? So it's moving forward. But what I would say is that the typical coaching program probably lasts from 6 to 8 months, because those sessions are kind of every other week. So you say, oh, every other week, 8 months. Every other week, 8 sessions. That would tend to be maybe 4 months, but typically travel, my clients are pretty busy too. And so typically it's about 8 months by the time they go through it. However, in reflection, one of the things that I realized was that a lot of women went through it and had different degrees of success. And so what were the ones who had the greatest success? What did they have in common? And that was engagement. And then even, you go through an 8-month program with me. I learn a lot about you. So more than likely you are going to come back for, counsel or, conversations, more strategy, things change, you get a new job, all these things. So what became really clear and what so many of those coaching clients asked for was ongoing accountability and support and community, because the other aspect of this program and why I'm doing it for 12 months is that's right, Virginia. Charity went from delayed gratification to dominating her destiny. Absolutely. I love that. I love the way you put that. So, here's the deal. I know we all want shake and bake. You know what I mean? Like we want to be able to just get to it and tell me what I need to know. Let me invest in some stocks right now and you're off to the races. But that's not quite how it works. Okay? Like the first thing that you have to do is you can't change what you do not acknowledge. So the first thing we're going to work on are compare and contrast how a wealthy, financially successful woman acts and behaves versus not, right? And what you're going to see when you're and it's like it's not big things, but in fact it is. And so much of it, what it requires is courage. And I've been, for the past few weeks, I've been talking a lot about myself, my own fears, doing things scared. Hey, Mary, good to have you in the room with us too. And, my own fears, my own concerns, my own doubts. And because so much of being able to move beyond your circumstances, the only reason you're not moving forward is that fear. And then if I were to go down just a level deeper, that fear is of the unknown, and it's shame and it's ignorance. And then the other part of even that shame and ignorance is, I won't call it low self-esteem, because I think it's even a little deeper than that, right? Like it's, and I think in the society really conditions us to believe that if we work on the outside, that everything will come to us. And what do I mean? So that's when we over whatever, right? So, that's when we get into the altering, the ostentatious, all of the things that if we get all of these things, then eventually we will be worthy and we will be viewed in a different way, not recognizing that true growth is within, right? Agree or disagree with me, guys? I mean, I know I didn't think I was going to go down this road, but that's where I'm going. Hi, Suzanne. Agree or disagree that so much of our inability to move beyond our current circumstances has to do with fear, and that fear is steeped in ignorance, and meaning not knowing. And so because we don't know how to take that next step and move beyond, we don't ask for help. So then we feel shame, and that shame is steeped in feeling like we should have knew that. How come we don't know that already? Right? So then because we don't know it, then we're like, oh, well, I'm not going to let anybody know I don't know it. I think and then, that's when the whole fake it till you make it and that kind of thing. No, you don't need to fake it till you make it. You just need to find out what you go get some help. And, and so that you could, so here's the other thing that I even had to decide, just in terms of the whole Wealthy You business model and how I can scale and grow and touch more women. I had to finally say to myself, I didn't come from entrepreneurs. I've never been an entrepreneur. And so, I was seeking information, joining organizations, being around other successful, what I thought were successful, but if I had known what I know now, I would know that a lot of that was a facade. Are you with me? And that's when when this is when you really find out who is swimming naked. And I'll say that's a term that Warren Buffett says. Like you never know who's swimming naked until the tide comes in, right? And so that's sort of where we are right now. So the business owners who really do have the discipline and acumen and have built something of significance, after these downturns, they will still be standing beyond the crisis. So I say all of that to say that and the Bible says, seek wise counsel. And that's finally what I had to do. So I had been so be careful what you're looking at, right? And be careful of the counsel that you see. That's right, Mary. True growth is from within. It takes time. It's a process. And these are trying times. No question about it. But what I finally had to recognize was that there are no secrets, right? I mean, really, there really are no secrets. It's just, what are you willing to, are you willing to fail and learn from that failure? And so, my point is that earlier when I was in business, so much of the counsel that I sought was thinking I could be with other people who were doing what I wanted to do, and that you kind of get that from osmosis. But let me tell you something, that doesn't work, because let me put it in these terms. Have you ever had a teacher whose class you may have, like you'd come out of that class and you'd be like, oh man, I just didn't get that, what she was saying or what they were doing. And, maybe you didn't excel. Okay. And then later on, you took a similar class and you had a different professor or an instructor. You were just like, oh man, it's just crystal clear. That's because not everyone has the ability to transfer their knowledge and have you get the same result. Is this making sense to you? So what I finally had to do is find someone who had created success over and over and over and helped businesses like mine scale. And then that was proof of concept. Am I making sense to you? And so, it's sort of like, hey, welcome. So my point is that you can measure a man's success by their ability to ask for help. And so many of you are trying to do it on your own, which was my point, getting back to the point of why the Wealthy Youth Society is a 12-month program. It's not for everybody, right? But what I am very confident of is that you will have a transformation in that time, because it's enough time and enough work that now you're going to be guided in doing things, because left to our own designs, based on our own beliefs and makeup, our typical response to most things is what? To revert back to what we've always done. And so that's what I'm excited about, is that I believe that community, that doing things together along with one another, is how you kind of tackle this, the challenge of mastering the art of investing, becoming confident in terms of financial acumen, your financial acumen, and really finally taking ownership of your financial success. So, I know that was long-winded, but anyhow, hey Antoinette, welcome, welcome, welcome. And Antoinette is in the Wealthy You Society as well. So, no, but tonight, you know what I want to do? I want to take your questions tonight. And that's what this really started out as, question and answer. So, are there any questions that you have? You know, a couple of things. I'll throw some topics out on you. I think this market is surprising. I'll be honest with you. If you would have told me that we would have we be where we are today, I would have been surprised, right? But we're now back at 24,000, and we were down at 19,000 just 2 weeks ago. I love it, Mary. Seeking help isn't a weakness, it's a strength. Truly, truly, truthful. Or, well, are there some question of the day? What are your biggest financial challenges as a result of COVID right now? That's the question. What are your biggest financial challenges as a result of COVID? And anybody step up, and I'm going to give you a sense tonight of what our Q&A sessions are going to be in the Wealthy You Society. That's what it's going to be about, asking questions. And then I really want to be able to coach someone, give them strategy, and then you're going to learn from that insight, because that's how it's done. And there are going to be other women in the room who are going to be able to add their experiences, their knowledge, and that's really how you have people talk about masterminds, and the reason they call them masterminds is because you lean on the minds of everyone, right? However, what you do have to have in that mastermind is a good leader who can discern to make sure that the information that is being conveyed is relevant. Okay, so first question. The major financial challenge is paying down debt or savings in an emergency fund. Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because honestly, that is the first thing I said when COVID hit. Is we were talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and having your base, your emergency safety, your housing, your basic needs met. And so really talk about the tide going out and seeing who's got clothes on her naked. This is where you see when you have financial holes in your financial foundation, right? Not having those resources available, thinking that you have this job, there's no way that, things are looking well. But when you don't have that emergency kind of situation, then something like this hits and you're ill prepared. So let's talk about, one of the things that I do in financial coaching, we'll certainly do in the Wealthy You Society is a financial makeover. Okay? Oh yeah, index funds. We're going to go into not only index funds, you are going to learn how to analyze and research mutual funds not based on many people rely on Morningstar, but what you'll come away from there knowing is how Morningstar comes up with their 4 and 5 stars, their different ratings. So we're going to get into index funds. You're going to know about the gamut of mutual funds and how to analyze and research them and how to build a portfolio based on your own situation. So I want to talk about, though, because I think this is important, about paying down your debt and creating a savings or emergency fund. So it's interesting because this conversation came up today with Tawana. And Tawana will be a Wealthy You ambassador, and she's been through coaching, and she'll be in the group really answering your question, making sure that if you have any needs, that your needs are taken care of. So we were talking about, the whole Dave Ramsey. She said sometimes, hey, welcome. She was saying that sometimes when she's talking to people who, are Dave Ramsey, you've been following Dave Ramsey for years, and so follow his kind of methodology. And, one of the things Dave Ramsey espouses that I don't necessarily agree with is that you got to pay off all debt before you invest. And I would say that, with everybody, it depends, but I think you got to do both because, again, everything ain't for everybody. And so what you have to kind of, where we differ is that the one thing you need in order to build wealth is time. And so you've got to do both. You've got to be able to invest, and you've got to be able to save at the same time. So as it relates to paying off debt and creating that emergency saving fund, the first place I start is what you already have, right? So beginning to look at where are the places that you can cut expenses. And I'll tell you, I guess in our case, our children don't live with us. So I hear some of you are dealing with it costing you more in food. But, sometimes cooking out and really having a strategy, really looking through your lifestyle and seeing where are most of those dollars going. And it's so easy to do now. You just take out 3 different so now it would be take out January, February, March. Take a look at your expenses and where were the categories that you were spending most of your money. And then the 2 biggest categories in most households are phone bill and cable bill. Another place to look is at your homeowners, your auto insurance. Another place to look is in your utilities. Could you be on a budget plan or something like that? So to free up that cash flow and to then begin to redirect that into towards debt. In fact, it's so interesting you brought that up is right now, interest rates are really low. And so what you want to look at now is either with your credit union, looking at a bill consolidation loan where you can get the interest rates really low, put it in, and then you're only paying, get rid of clean up your balances, get rid of the high interest debt, have that all going to one loan. The other thing, it's interesting, I was just I'm writing an article right now for AARP Sisters, and it's all about what do you do in a low interest rate environment. For savers, it's challenging because, you're earning 1% on your savings, but the whole reason that the Fed is taking out a 0% credit card right now. They push rates down to zero, hoping that it will stimulate the economy and people will spend. It will cause economic activity. The other thing I would say is look at refinancing because these rates are down about 1% since January, right? So you've got a 30-year mortgage down to, I know for the VA, I just talked with someone and they were saying they could get a mortgage for 2.75%. So just in closing, the things just to do is to be strategic. Think about how you can reduce the amount of interest you're paying on that credit, and then find ways within your budget to kind of redirect. You'd be surprised, the extra $50, $100 a month, that can really make an impact over time and accelerate the amount of debt. And I don't think I'd have it all go to debt. If I found an extra, 200 or 300, increase $150 toward debt and then start putting that $150 or so in. And you heard Michelle talk about it in the master class where she has a stash account. And I just opened up one so that I can help you guys understand what that account is and what it can and how to leverage it. But the key is to get that money out of your checking and your bank account and get it in a place where you have allocated it for certain goals. I hope that makes sense, you guys. Make sense? Okay. Mary says, agree. It's a great time to refine your mortgage and consolidate debt. That's right. Challenge, price gouging, groceries, the uncertainty of the economy going forward. Will prices stay? Well, you know what, Mary, it's interesting you asked that question because I really feel like this. I really feel like in the near term, anything can happen, right? Like, so we see that there are issues with these meat plants. And we see that even farmers, the supply chain is just, the food supply chain is just messed up. But, here's the other thing. Maybe we don't need to be eating all this food anyway. I gotta laugh. I was talking with Terry today. And so I've been doing a lot of crock pot cooking, right? So I get up in the morning, take something out the night before, put something in the crock pot. So today I made chili. It was so good. We were going to make like a beef stew out of it. And I had used up all my carrots and celeries in my other crock pot thing where I had made some chicken and dumpling. They were the bomb. Now, let me tell you, with one chicken, we got 3 meals out of that chicken. I know, Mary, right? Sitting here, we better start walking or doing something. But anyhow, I think the other thing with COVID, if we really think about it, like, how much stuff do we really need? How much did we really have to do? I mean, I don't know. I feel like life is simpler. The only place that I've been is to the post office, and in fact, I had even asked them to pick up the stuff, and then I just wanted to get out of the house because it was so nice, and I forgot to tell them. The guy came by, but my point is, like, we don't need as much as we think we do, and so that's the other reason I'm excited about this program. Is you're right now, it's about preparing so that when you come out of this, you've got a good sense of what's important to you. You've created your vision. That's the other thing we're going to do, is create a wealthy vision and a vision board of what we see this next 10 years to be, what's important to us. What do we want to really go after and make an impact and leave a legacy, because that's the other thing I think I'm clear about. And, like, you can plan, but for the grace of God, I'm talking to you over this streaming tonight. My husband got sick as ever, and we really think he had COVID. It's just that he tested for the flu. But I mean, I was traveling, he was traveling. I mean, I had the good sense to quarantine myself from him, not even thinking COVID, but just that the last time he caught the flu, I did too, and we didn't both need to be sick. But here's the deal. Now is the time to prepare to everything you've been putting off doing. Hey, I want to ask you a question. What is it that you've been putting off doing and that you thought you would get around to it? Now this happens. What do some of you want to do? What are some, I want to hear you put your dreams out here. What is something that you've been putting off and now this is happening and you're saying, you know what? I better get that done. That's right, Mary. This is a perfect time to reassess and adjust and put life back into perspective. Amen. That's right, Virginia. Fast and pray. Love it. Love it. Yeah, I mean, what is it that you've been putting off that you feel like, hey, I'm going to do this now? Yep. Yep. Let's see. Good evening. Let me see who else is in the room now. Let me say shout out to you guys. Who is? Oh, May Helen. Hi. Let's see who else is in here that I can't see. You guys, I'm on this new streaming app and it's weird. Starting my business. Yes. Let's talk about that. Because I think gardening, love it. Mary, you know what? I'm not such a green thumb, but I am certainly, one of the things I want to do is on our little back porch, because we have such a little back thing now. But anyhow, I'm happy about it. I want to start an herb garden, because like I would just like pop in the store and get some herbs and then the next day, another day. And now it's like, I'm not popping in anywhere, getting anything. Writing a book, starting a podcast, do it. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Do you know with COVID, so many of these companies are giving you access to all of their training for free. Harvard has a bunch of courses you can take right now for free. And so that's what I mean. Use this time wisely. Yeah, Suzanne, refinance. Yep, you should really be considering that too. Hey, Shanda and Tawana, you guys just popped in. I know I meant to put a note that I was on the Facebook page and not in the group this evening. Yeah, I mean, if you own a home, you need to seriously consider it. We just moved. I don't think we've been in this place. Let's see, maybe it's 7 months now. But I'm telling you, I am considering it. Provided I can find a way to do it without a lot of fees. Now, here's the other thing. If any of you are veterans, you know what you get to do? You get to do they call them streamlined refinancing, where you don't have to go through any of the kind of underwriting craziness of us civilians and with conventional mortgages. So if you know anybody in that situation, you need to pass it on. Hey, Phyllis, welcome. I see you just joined. I'm glad you're going to be on board of the Wealthy Youth Society. Excellent. Oh, so Shanda's here. Suzanne's here. Man, All of the Wealthy You Society is here this evening. Antoinette is here. Hey, Anita, good evening. Yeah, paying down debt and or a savings fund, all of that, now I think debt is what you really need to figure out how you can leverage. Oh, I love it. So, Coursera.org. Yeah, you know what my son did is he gifted my nephew and his sister the have you guys seen the masterclass series where they have all the different uh accomplished celebrities, writers. So my point is that that is what you need to be thinking about while you're on while some of you are quarantined. Now, the other thing though is not everybody there. Many of you are essential workers, so I don't want to really make any assumptions. Uh, but the other thing I would say as well is that um, I think mental health is another aspect of this as well, and that uh, to have balance and to figure out what are some things that you can do. So, like my daughter is doing Peloton classes. I hear they've got a really good rate. You don't have to have a Peloton, they do all other kinds of things. There's different mindfulness courses. My friend Minda Harts, if you don't follow her, she wrote the book The Memo about helping women of color get their seat at the table. She's doing a weekend writing retreat, and it's virtual. And so, that's the other thing about making this shift, right? From a fixed to a growth mindset, from an income to a wealth mindset. It's just about really shifting your perspective. And I know, like, I have a lot of friends on Facebook, tagging me, oh, I really miss being with, my friends and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, we did a Zoom happy hour with about 6 couples last week, but let's be creative. What solution can you create that can address some of the needs that people have during this pandemic? And so I really feel like when you make that shift from what I don't have to what I can give, right? From what I don't have to what I can give, that really is the secret to feeling to feel fulfilled. I mean, agree or disagree with me. And in fact, it's the first habit, the foundational habit in a purse of your own, and it's the habit of adding value. And when you give to others, you get more, you receive more from that transaction than you could ever give. So let's see. So next question, refinance just before I retired to under 5%. Now with no job, refinancing challenges. That's true. That's very true. No, I don't argue that, because the other challenge in this environment is underwriting. And, one of the things they're looking at is what is your job situation, right? And would you be a risk? So that's true. Yeah, let's come up with some other good ideas. So Virginia says, getting my house in order, every cubby hole, cleaning from top to bottom, getting organized. Yes. Donating clothes, books, shoes so I can see clearly and focus on my future, meditating and staying motivated to master my money. I love it, Virginia. And I got to tell you, man, you have really, I've seen exponential growth, and I'm so excited. Just, your coaching you has just been a gift, right? A gift. And just to kind of piggyback on what Virginia just said, the other thing that you can do if you want to come up with a way to earn some extra income is try these apps. Let Go. I sold furniture through Let Go. I sold a huge sectional. And, my husband was laughing at me. He was like, nobody's going to pay you for that. But I mean, it was expensive. It was Lazy Boy, and it had one of those pull-out beds where the beds, even the mattress, it had an air mattress in it. I paid a fortune. We paid a fortune for that. Well, it wasn't a fortune, but I was like, I'm selling this. Don't you know that thing was on Let Go for 2 days? And I said, hey, this is, this thing is heavy. So if you come pick it up. And so these college guys came, they picked it up. It was out. $500. See, never know. Now, my other little side hustle, I haven't done it since we moved, but I need to because I have brought too much stuff. And my husband told me to get rid of that stuff, but I didn't. So now have you guys ever, who on here has used Poshmark? Anybody use Poshmark? Poshmark is an app that you could set up your own little kind of closet store. And the trick to that, though, is to really take pictures that make how you see the pictures in magazines. That's what you have to do with the stuff that you want to sell. And if you've got anything like Coach or I had St. John that I had for when I was touring with God's Leading Ladies, and that was that had to be 15 years ago, right? Soon as I put it on there, I was still getting like $75, $100 for that stuff. I mean, and people are still buying it. I just think it's too, I don't know, like it was past my time. But anyhow, so really begin to think about what are the things that are right in front of you that you're not using. And then in this economy, it's a sharing economy. So it's so easy to market, repurpose, refurbish. I mean, think creatively. Make it happen. I was talking with another friend. And have you guys ever did the sip and paint parties where you bring your wine and it's a group of you? I know we did it on, some friends of mine did it on a girls trip. And so that's kind of tough now, right? So how would you get the materials and a lot of that stuff? A lot of people who were doing business, their supply chain was in China, and that's basically shut down now. So it's very difficult. But I had this great idea. So what if you had a sip and color party? So, now they have these adult coloring books. So I was telling my friend, that's what you could do. And then you could all be on Zoom or whatever, and you could show your little designs. And then, you could send it through, and whoever is the most creative gets to, win something. So that's all I'm saying. It's not like we can't do anything. It's just that we have to do it differently. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, one last thing. The other thing that I want to talk about is that if you think about where we were 4 weeks ago and the kind of anxiety that people were feeling around their finances, and if you think about the conversations, those coloring books are the bomb, Mary. And if you think about the conversations that we're having, and now, Cuz is in the house. Hey, Vaughn. Vonnie, as I call you. People can call you Von if they want to, but you Vonnie to me. You'll always be Vonnie. But anyhow, so I want you to think about where we were, and I just want you to hold on to this. The conversations that we were having 4-5 weeks ago when this thing happened, the market was falling, and we were talking about the need to do the opposite of what other people do. Don't panic, prepare. Look at what your situation is, have your goals change, stay the course. Well, not only stay the course, but also this is a good time to really assess how much how much exposure you really can afford to have in the market without getting comfortable. And now we're here, right? And so everybody is feeling very, oh, well, yeah, we snap right back. Not going to happen. In my from where I see it, is the Fed is putting a lot of money in this economy, but if we keep seeing this unemployment numbers, that the market is not really mirroring our economy. So at the end of the day, while it's good right now to just take a snapshot and to say that again, the things are going to go up and down, but you got to have a long-term view. It's not where you are today, it's where do you want to be. And then once you figure out where you want to be, then it's about creating the strategy to get there. But the strategy, but do you know what's even more important than strategy? That's the question. Do you know what's even more important than strategy? Anybody? So China is, well, I just have a lot of people who have, Trisha, I have people who have e-commerce business, and they're having problems getting product, and so that is my purview. So I appreciate you. Okay, so Mary, you're throwing my words back at me, huh? Don't let what you want today get in the way of what you want most. That's right. Okay, Phyllis, action. That's right. This is what I want to tell you guys. So this week I got more done. Well, I didn't get it done by myself. A team of people executed on more in this week that I had been wanting to get done, but finally said, okay, I need to hire some people, right? So, but you got to have the right people. That's the thing, right? So it's just like not overthinking it, right? So, Facebook ads are running, things are executing in it, and you just got to execute. And, one of the points I wanted to make is, if you'll remember, for those of you who are in the master class, who again, remember, if you're in the Wealthy You Society, we'll have another one of those coming up, and you don't have to pay for that, but I'm going to move it up to June. Usually we do them every 3 months, but I've decided I'm going to move the next one up to June 20th. And by the way, if you want to attend the next master class, it is up and posted. If you go to deborahowens.com, click on learn more, the early bird special is up. So anyhow, this is what really struck me. I went back and I reviewed all of the interviews with the Wealthy You Go models. And one thing really, really struck me, that Michelle Smith said. Now remember, Michelle had just started coaching in May, and by August she had bought a house, doubled the amount she was putting in her 401k, in stash, investing. I mean, just boom. So it didn't take her long. But she said something very profound. And listen, I don't know what wealthy you go models are going to say. The only thing I do is I say, well, I have a tendency to go off the rails, so I could ask you something, but here's the framework. Here are a few questions that I may start with, and then we'll just see what happens. So I never know what they're going to say. I mean, there's no, here, I don't want you to say this, talk about the, no. They get to say whatever they want to say. So anyhow, Michelle said something that was so profound. Before I tell you what it is, a few of you were in the master class. So who's still on here that was in the master class? So, Suzanne, you were in the master class. Do you remember Michelle? Michelle, who was in the government. She says, I'm a government employee, blah, blah, blah. Tawana, you were in there too. Joyce, you were in there too. I think you were in the master class. Shanda, you were in part of it, I remember. Okay, so does anybody remember, and Stacy's in here, and you were in the class too. Does anybody remember what Michelle said? Because she started out I asked her a question. I think I asked her a question just about, what was the greatest thing that you learned from wealth coaching or something like that. Does anybody remember? Okay, now you may not remember, but here's what here's what Michelle said. And it's just so true. And and I have been guilty of it so often. Is, somebody introduces something and I feel like, oh, I'm so excited. And then, and then I start thinking, and then the next thing I know, I talk myself out of it. You remember when she said that? And that's exactly why execution is just important in strategy, right? Because many of you are in your head. And the biggest challenge you have, you know what it is? It's you. It's you. It's that conversation that you have going on in your head about what you can, what you could, what you want, what you should. And then you know what you do? Nothing. Not a doggone thing. But here's what I've learned. There is something in the power of having other people around you who have the same aspirations and desires. That when you see them moving, then you move too. They call it the power of the crowds. And it can work, it can work in a negative and a positive way, right? So that's why the values of the people that you're around have to be similar. Now, I'm telling you, I joined a group of entrepreneurs and it has profoundly changed the way I look at things. See, you never stop learning. You never can stop learning. And so often what happens is we get to the level that only we're capable of. But you see, we're capable of so much more. But in order to increase our capability, we've got to be surrounded with people who have been where we want to go, have the same desire, and that is why community is so important. And that's why the Wealthy Youth Society is so important to me because it's community. It's a group of women who are like-minded, have the same aspiration, goals, and desires. So I'm right at 9 o'clock, and I just want to say to you, for those of you who have joined the Wealthy Youth Society, I am so excited and I'm grateful for your confidence in Wealthy You. And I'm grateful for your investment, especially in the times that we're in now. I know this is not easy. But my commitment to you is I know it's not easy, but that it will be worth it. I'm confident in that, because the one thing that I really feel so blessed by is that the women that you saw speak on Saturday, to see their growth and their results, and they're not, that was only 4 of hundreds. And so I just want to thank you for making the commitment. And for any of you who are interested in the Wealthy Youth Society, we launch tomorrow. Our first call is at 8 p.m. You will get an email in your box and the first assignment, and we're off to the races. There is a private Wealthy Youth Society Facebook, and I can't wait to get started. So for those of you who are watching this on replay, just put replay, and I hope to see you in the Wealthy Youth Society tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So again, you could either go to DeborahOwens.com, or you could go to that link, bit.ly WU Society, and I will see you in the Wealthy Youth Society tomorrow, and we're off to our 21-day challenge. So thanks so much for joining me this evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.